Good morning, Year 3. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I hope you're all keeping nice and safe at home and looking after yourselves. I also hope you're going onto our website and you're looking at all of the learning that we've been putting up for you. It's very important that you keep doing the work that we're setting for you, and we can check whether you're logging on or not. But now it's time for the second lesson in our new topic in science, which is the life cycle of plants. And I think right now is such a good time to be looking at that. I was on my walk this morning in the park and I noticed all the leaves were coming out on the trees and the flowers were popping out, and it's a really nice, beautiful time of year. It's when all the life starts again every year. In spring, everything comes to life. All the insects are out and the birds are out. So yeah, make sure you're going on your little walks every day because that is important in staying healthy. So today's a second lesson. You should have already by now done the lesson that Mrs. Graham set you, which was all about roots and how the roots work in the plant. And today, so if you haven't done that, you need to go back and make sure you do that first, and then you can do this lesson. So today we're going to be looking at all the other parts of the plants, and we're looking at how water is transported around the plant. And transported means moved, so we're looking at how the different parts of the plant work together to move the water around the plant. And so we're going to have a bit of a lesson, and then we're going to I'm going to do a fun little experiment that you can do at home as well, hopefully. You can have a go at, and then we can have a look at how water is transported around the plant. Okay, so let's start. So our learning objective today is to investigate the way in which water is transported within plants. So remember that transported means moved. So we're looking at how water moves through the plant to the different parts that it needs to get to. Let's just remind ourselves of the different parts of the plant before we continue. So we've got the root, which is underground, and you know now that that is used to absorb the water from the soil, to bring the water into the plant from the soil. And it's also used to anchor the plant in place so that it doesn't fall over. And next you've got the long stem, and that's the bit that holds all of the rest of the plant together. So it holds the flower, it holds the leaves. And the stem is actually made of really, really thin tubes, a little bit like a straw. Okay, then you've got the leaf and the flower. And the leaf is where the plant makes the food, so it uses water and sunlight and air, carbon dioxide, to make food, which it then sends to the flower. And the point of the flower is to make seeds so that the plant can make a new plant next year. And let's have a look at how the water is transported around the plant. So first the rain falls on the ground and it sinks into the soil. Next, the roots absorb water from the soil. So you can see there, it's coming from all different directions. It's going up towards the stem. And then third, the stem carries the water up to the rest of the plant. So the roots and the stem really work together to absorb all of the water from the soil and take that water up to the leaves and up to the flowers, where it can make food for energy, and so it can reproduce itself. It can make a new plant for next year. So today we're going to be planning and setting up an experiment to show how water is transported within plants. So we're going to look at how the stem transports water up, how it moves water up from the roots up to the leaves. Okay, so for this experiment you're going to need a glass of water, some food colouring, which is red, my one, but you can use any food colouring you want. Probably not best to use a green or a yellow one, and you'll see why later. And you're going to need some celery, which is one, I have loads of celery at home because it's one of my favourite vegetables to eat. If you don't have these things, don't worry, because you can watch me doing it and you can still make your predictions and you can still look at the results, because I will show you my results tomorrow. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take one stick of celery. So you can just tear those off, but it's a bit messy and I think it's best to have a nice straight line. So I'm going to use some scissors, and and I'm just going to cut that like that. If you don't have scissors, then ask an adult at home to use their knife. Get them to cut it with a knife for you. Be very careful, obviously. So the next thing we're going to do is put some of the food colouring into the cup of water. So be careful with this. The food colouring will dye anything it gets onto. So it will stain your clothes, your skin, your carpets. So do this at the kitchen table or somewhere. Maybe put some newspaper down. And you're going to put just a couple of little drops in there like this. Oh, that came out quite fast. Okay, so there's my big eye. You see my big eye? Right, I'm going to mix it around a bit. And I'm going to put a bit more because I want it to be really, really, really dark. Really colourful. That's good. Okay. Okay, look at that. So I'm going to have to remind myself that that's not Ribena. So I'm going to put that somewhere away from anyone else in my house because I don't want someone to just pick that up and start drinking it. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my stick of celery into my glass of food colouring. Now let's just think about what we've just learnt about the roles of the different parts of the plant. So we know that the water comes from the soil and it gets absorbed into the roots of the plant. We know that it then goes into the stem and the stem transports the water up because it's got lots of tiny, tiny little tubes in it like straws. So if we know that, maybe we could make some predictions. Maybe we could think about what is going to happen to this celery. Because this celery is like the stem of a plant. It is the stem of a plant. It's got tiny, tiny tubes in it. So let's think about what do we think might happen. Okay, so once you've set your experiment up, or if you're not doing it, once you've thought about the way that I've set mine up, you're going to go and find this worksheet that's on the school's website, and you're going to fill in the boxes. So the first thing you're going to think about is you're going to make a prediction. What do you think will happen? Think about what we were talking about, the role of the parts of the plant in transporting water around the plant. What's going to happen to the celery over time? Okay, and then you're going to draw a little diagram. It doesn't have to be that neat. Just a little diagram of what we've done. It's got a glass with the food dye and the celery. And then you're going to wait. And if you're not doing the experiment, you're still going to wait. And then you're going to check my video later and I'm going to show you what happened to mine. And then we're going to look at our observations, which is what happened, what changed, what has happened to the celery in the glass. And then, you can't do this now, but you're going to have to do this once you've done the experiment. You're going to think about why it happened. And I want you to talk about what we learned about the way that water is moved around the plant, how it is transported around the plant. Okay, year 3, I'm going to leave you now to go and set up your own experiment and to be getting on with doing your writing up on the worksheet. If you do this at home, please just take some pictures of it and you can email them to the year 3 email address. I'd love to see all the stuff that you're getting up to. Also, anything else that you're doing that you think's a bit interesting, or if you just want to send some of your activities you're doing, please take photos, send them. Me and Mrs. Graham would love to see them. We want to see what you're up to. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to come back tomorrow, which is a Saturday, but we're all just going to be at home anyway, and I'm going to show you what's happened to my celery. And I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen because I've not done this experiment before. And you can, obviously, like I said, you can show me how yours is going by sending us pictures. Okay, year 3, bye. Have a nice weekend.